Hi friends, welcome back. In today's video, I want to talk about the 8 things that I gave up doing this year that truly helped me to level up my life. The first thing that I gave up doing this year is that I stopped drinking. And I know that this point can be very controversial because some people would argue that what's the harm of having one beer or one cup of wine from time to time? It doesn't do any harm and does not really affect significantly on your daily functionings and work or school or whatever that you're doing. I used to agree with this point. I was never a heavy drinker. I usually just have one drink or two with friends on a weekly basis when we go out for dinner or when we go to a bar or something. And it was not until I stopped drinking, I started to experience all these positive changes. There was a change in how my body felt. For example, my brain was able to think more clearly and I experienced less brain fog. And my energy levels would be more steady throughout the day, better sleep and better recovery from my training sessions. And also I was just able to experience more peace with my nervous system. The second thing I gave up doing is smoking. Just for the record, I have always been sort of like a social smoker. I just smoke usually when I'm around friends, when I'm around other smokers, or when I'm drinking in general. So I typically associate smoking with drinking. So whenever I drink, I just tend to feel like having a cigarette. And I guess this one goes hand in hand with the first one. When I made the decision to stop drinking, it kind of made it easier for me to let go of smoking because the association just broke. So if I don't drink, then I don't think about smoking that much either. So it was kind of easier for me to let this one go as well. Actually, the positive impacts that I experienced from not smoking came about after 2 to 3 months. I did not feel there has been a dramatic change of how not smoking has brought positive health benefits to my life. But the changes really started showing because I was also training more and I started running as well. I joined some local run clubs and started running on a weekly basis. And I can really feel that how not smoking has improved my cardiovascular health, which means that I was able to have better performance on cardio activities in general, more steady breathing rhythms and energy. So because I do need to speak a lot for my job, also feeling a significant difference in the quality of my sound. I had a clearer or more crisp sound, and it's actually easier for me to produce speech or words, if that makes sense. The third thing I stopped doing is going out late at night, clubbing, or just going to bars, partying with friends or by myself. This is something I truly enjoy doing. The main reason why I stopped going to clubs and late at night is just simply because I wanted to go to bed earlier. I mean, you can argue that you can also enjoy yourself without drinking, without smoking, and still enjoy the benefit. I totally agree. But let's just be honest that if we do these things, usually they're associated with the last 2 things that I just talked about. It's really hard to resist the temptation if we were to be 100% honest with ourselves. So I think it was just like a decision. And I just said to myself, if I were to stop the first 2 things, why not just go all in? And that's what I did. And I think that not going to clubbing late at night, it just in general gives you a better sleep-wake rhythm that you can actually build your life around. Not one that you have to constantly recover from. I truly believe that that is one of the biggest benefits that you can take away from this point. You will start to see how much your life can improve, how much more efficient and productive you can actually function on the next day. It gives you better mornings to plan around and to have a routine and better sleep. Switching from an evening person to a morning person, which is what I did. It truly took me some time to get a hang of it. Once you've switched this mindset, I think it just becomes easier. For example, you can go for a run, you can go for a walk, and you can enjoy the morning sunshine and read a book and drink a nice cup of coffee. I think it just makes life so much more bright and enjoyable and positive when you actually leave time for the activities that matters to you. The fourth thing that I stopped doing is socializing out of obligation. And I think this one, a lot of people could resonate. Sometimes we feel bad about saying no, and we have like these kind of sensitivity and awkwardness around rejection and saying no to other people, saying no to plans. Well, I think this one is a bit tricky. When you don't really have a life to work around, your schedule is just automatically open and you feel like you don't really have control over who gets your time. If that sounds like you, then we need to fix that. The point behind getting more comfortable saying no, potentially disappointing other people, is that you truly have a life that you want to return to, an identity that you want to build around. It's not something that you can pretend or fake to have. So when you genuinely do have a life that you value and do have the things that are on the priority of your list, you just become naturally more unavailable. Something that we have to understand is that these rejections are not personal. You're just doing what's best for yourself, as you should. So when you do choose to spend time with someone or on certain things, you just know that it came from a conscious choice. It's not because you had nothing to do with your time or you're just bored and you're just trying to find these fillers of the vacancies in your calendars, which by the end of the day, it enabled me to build stronger boundaries, developing more meaningful connections, having in-depth conversations, and in general, having more control over where my energy goes. Because something you have to understand is that your energy and attention span is literally the most important and scarce resources that you have. All right, number 5. This one is about my dieting habits. I stopped convenience-based eating. The reason why I started changing my dietary habits is because, as you guys know, I started the body recomposition journey earlier this year. Here is a picture just to give you a rough idea of how this plan has been working out for me. I have been moving along the journey quite inconsistently in the beginning, and I really just started locking in the past 2 months or so. I was doing a lot of research around food in general in the past 2 months or so, because I just need to know what are the things I can eat and what these foods can actually provide to my body. Studying the macros, studying the nutritional content of each food, it truly has been a journey, and I'm still learning at this point. But I think that it really helped me to get a better sense of what was going into my mouth. My general advice for eating is basically, it doesn't really matter which diet you're on, just focus on eating whole foods and get rid of all the processed food. Just eat more whole foods, fruits, vegetables, protein. Of course, this is a big one. Like, we need to prioritize protein and learning about volume eating. And this is a big one because just learning to be able to eat more food by having more volume in your food instead of increasing the calories. So right now, I just feel like I am much more informed on the food that goes into my mouth and what kind of food actually supports my body instead of creating inflammations and burdens. Another point is, which I think deserves a whole new video to talk about, which is to plan your food before the day even comes. I started doing meal prep every single week. I kind of like just plan out my meals for the week, and just knowing that this is exactly what I'm going to eat for this day. I will probably discuss in another video if you guys are interested. Number 6, another thing that I stopped doing or that I got rid of is mindless scrolling on social media. And this is a tricky one because we all have that temptation. And something that I find worked really well for me is that actually I personally carry 2 cell phones. So I have my main phone, which is the phone that I use on a daily basis. And I have a second phone, which is like my work phone, which I don't use that often because sometimes I still need to access the social media for information or stay in contact with my friends. So what I did is that I deleted all the social media apps on my main phone and moved them to my second phone, so I don't even have the chance to click on them, just to eliminate the temptation, because you should never trust your willpower. With that being said, it literally has been a game changer. Again, like I mentioned, your attention is literally the most important thing that you should be preserving. You should be protecting your attention like it is a scarce resource. Don't let these apps steal your attention without you even realizing it. All right, let's keep this going. Number 7, the 7th thing I stopped doing this year is that I learned that I need to stop planning around motivation and willpower. This is a big one because I think it is a trap. It is a common trap that most people fall into, which is that, oh, on a day when I feel good, I will do certain things. I will go to the gym, I will read, I will do work, I will do X, Y, and Z, whatever. And what often happens in these kind of scenarios is that you will give up the moment your feelings creeps in. Let's say by the end of the day, you're supposed to go to the gym and you're just feeling tired. 9 out of 10 times, you'll be like, oh, it's okay. I'm just gonna order some food and watch some Netflix or watch some videos on YouTube or just do something for fun, do something entertaining. And then we're on to the next day and the next day and the next week and the next month. It never works and you're never sticking to your plans. You never really have a plan on your shit days, on the days where you don't feel as good, when you don't feel as motivated. And that is something I knew I need to pay attention to because I was describing exactly myself and probably most of the people who are watching this video too. So what we need is not a plan that works for our best self. We need to create and execute on a plan even when we don't feel our best. How I did that for about 3 months now is that I will actually plan my week before the week comes. I will spend an hour or so planning my next week. So I will put everything that I need to do in my calendar the week before it comes, which includes boring things like going to the gym, training, meal prepping, sleeping, etc. Whatever that's on your priority list, your non-negotiables that you need to get done for the week, you need to put that in the calendar. Otherwise, it's not going to get done. Wow, we made it to the last point. Number 8. The last thing that I stopped doing this year that I think has made a big change, I stopped announcing everything too early. What I would used to do is I will tell people around me what my plans are and the things that I want to achieve, the things I want to get done before I even started doing these things or before I even made some progress. But over time, I realized that that is not a very smart move. And let me just tell you the reason why you shouldn't do this. Your brain will give you the dopamine hit before you even start doing the thing because you go around telling people that you're going to do the thing. Your brain is already being rewarded before you even start doing the thing. So you get less motivation because dopamine is essentially a neurotransmitter that motivates you, that serves as a motivating factor for your actions. If you already spilled your intentions before taking actions, your brain has already experienced this dopamine hit before you even start doing whatever this thing is. If you think this is really important for you, just keep it to yourself for a little bit longer until you've taken some action and see some results. And funny enough, this would be the time where people around you will start to notice. They will most oftentimes come up to you and ask you, what is it that you have been doing or working on that has made to this noticeable shift? Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. I hope that you're able to learn something or have some takeaways. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. And I will see you in the next one. Ciao.